Hi, and welcome to What's the Worst That Could Happen. I'm Abby Whitaker, your host, and today I have the amazing Hannah from Socially Sans on, and I'm so selfishly excited to have her for my own purposes, but also to share her with you guys. So I'm going to pass it over for you to introduce yourself and introduce Socially Sans.
Wow, I totally did not prepare for this, but
That's how we do it best.
I am Hannah. I have a social media strategy company called Socially Sans. I am a mum of 2 beautiful babies, and I guess I'm kind of on this mission of scaling my own business and empowering women, mothers, individuals to put themselves out there online, create impact, and grow their audiences.
Amazing. I feel like that's a very humble introduction of what you do.
Maybe.
But we'll obviously dig a little bit deeper as we go. And I guess to get started, I would love to chat to you because you have such an inspiring and unique journey from, like, say, two years ago to where we are now. Can you just tell us a little bit about your story and how you've ended up where you are now?
Yes, I would say it's been, so the business Socially Sans turns 2 on July 1st, which is a week and a bit away. And I feel like I've had many lives before Socially Sans, one of which we met in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been, oh man, there's been, it's like, where do I even start? There's been so many things that have contributed to the story. But I guess going back 2.5 years ago, 1st of January 2023, I decided I had just had my son and I didn't want to go back to work at my hospitality job. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to try this content thing. I'm going to post content. I'm going to figure it out. No one around me seemed to understand TikTok, or it just seemed like one of these things that no one really understood. And I was like, I'm going to figure out TikTok. I'm going to post on there every single day. And I'm just going to figure out how to grow. And I won't stop until I've satisfied that itch. So that's kind of how it started. I was posting multiple times a day and, started to kind of piece things together, and I would A/B test things without even knowing that I was A/B testing things, and I would trial more growth tactics, and I would spend hours researching what was working and then try to implement them and see what worked, see what didn't. Grew my personal brand pretty quickly. Someone came to me and they said, "Oh, do you consult on TikTok?" And I was like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah.
And I just kind of rode the wave, and I was like, "Yep, if I can figure it out for my brand, maybe I can figure it out for your brand." Tried to continue to do that, and then got another brand and another brand. And I think I only had 3 brands who had reached out to me when I was like, this is a business. And I was scrappy. I was like, my first son opened up a possibility to me that I didn't want to go back to work and work for someone else for long days, and what else was out there. So I think I was very much willing to put in the work. I was ready to figure it out and do the late nights and just see what came of it. And then when I was like, this is a business, I think it was 3 days, I bought the domain, started the Instagram, did a little hack photo shoot in my spare bedroom and started promoting myself as a business.
I love it. I love it. And I feel like, watching from the outside, I feel like you are a true entrepreneur. And I know that before you started Socially Sans, you were exploring other options. I even actually remember you reaching out to me about a Pilates studio at one stage.
That's so funny.
And you said, yep. And I was like, it's very saturated there. But yeah, I feel like, you've, like you said, you've had lots of lives. You've tried lots of different things. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have done in your life?
I love that you remember that. I forgot about that. I think that was in my stage of what can I do? There's got to be so many things. There's so many things that you can do. And I remember seeing you were killing it in Pilates. I was like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this idea? And you just gave me your honest opinion. And I would have reached out to 10 other people in 10 other industries and asked the same question, So I think just before Socially Sans, I had been, obviously I'm a musician as well. I'm a songwriter. I have an album release on Spotify. A big part of my journey just before Socially Sans was laser focusing on my music, being this is going to be the thing. And really doubling down on promoting myself as an artist. This is where my interest in branding and personal branding content came from. I started a business, a music marketing business, which just didn't really take off. And it kind of led me to Socially Sans. So it did its job. Before that, I was running events and venues in hospitality for like a big chunk of time, like a good 5 years. I managed like a big 1,000-person venue in Brisbane. That was a massive part of my identity and like what I did and who I thought I was before I got pregnant. And before that, you and I obviously met about 10 years ago. Was it 10 years ago?
Yeah, I feel like it was 2015.
Yeah, wow, 2015. So I was in France trying to get jobs on super yachts, and I did yachting for like, a year. It's so random, not for me. Not for you either.
No.
And before that, I mean, I was pretty young before that, but like, yeah, I think funny story, I think when I got back from yachting, I went to Thailand to do some training, and I had my first float tank experience. And this was before anyone was doing float tanks. And I had fully costed out a business to import pods from China and start a what is now City Cave.
Wow.
Like literally I had the costing done. I had the location. I was going to go into it with an ex-partner. And he was just like so blasé. He was also in hospitality management. He was a fair bit older than me. And I didn't have that confidence to go on my own. So he kind of poo-pooed the idea and I just let it be. But it's so funny. That was like one of my first big things that I was going to execute on. I think that's everything. I've done everything between bartending, nannying, construction. I was in construction for a while, did plastering for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. I love it. I feel like so multifaceted. Kind of like me, we talk about this being I just feel like the thing about an entrepreneur, like a true entrepreneur, is like they are the jack of all trades, and it's like, yeah, when we can put our brains to like hyper focus onto something. I know this is true for me. It's like you have this innate knowing that like I know whatever I'm going to put my mind onto, like if I'm actually going to put my mind onto it, it's going to be successful. Like I don't even like doubt it.
I love that.
Yeah, but sometimes you kind of have to have that first win.
Yeah, the data. Yeah, that's a good reflection. I think that I've always been entrepreneurial. Like I've always, as I said, when I messaged you about Pilates, I probably messaged 10 people across from construction, beauty, Pilates, development, and I never had any money. Like I never had any money to execute any ideas. It had to be something that I could start literally with zero investment. And that's, yeah, I think as soon as one thing works, you double down on it. And that's kind of what happened with Socially Sans.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like, okay, so Socially Sans, like I said before, you're a little bit humble. Where are we with Socially Sans? Like, sorry, but how many people are you fucking helping right now?
I'd say right now there's a couple hundred clients at the moment.
Yeah.
There's so much changing in the business right now. I think the best way I can describe it is like I started this business and I'm on this wave and I've just got to keep paddling the wave because if I stop, it will crash on me. I've just got to keep going. So I'm just literally following the momentum. I'm not trying to take on more and more and more. I'm just going with the momentum of what's happening.
Yeah.
And I started Socially Sans. As I said, these brands came to me. So I was doing these like consultancy packages for they were all e-com brands at the time, which was funny because I kind of took a different turn. I thought the hole in the market was people need help with TikTok. People don't understand TikTok. So I was like looking at all these big Australian brands on Instagram who had like no followers on TikTok. And I was like, I'm going to help them with the transition to TikTok. And that was my whole branding. Then I ended up, I think from just servicing more and more people, I realized the whole wasn't TikTok. The whole is so much more than TikTok. The whole is confidence. The whole is authenticity. The gap is not knowing how to make content that performs well. And human behavior. These were the biggest things I was finding. So for about a year, so 1st of July 2023, I officially started the business. For 6 months, I was just doing one-on-ones. I was just trying to get as many one-on-one clients from musicians, beauticians, artists, service providers, e-com businesses, like anyone who just wanted to make better content and grow faster. But even at that time, my language about how to promote my business was so limited. I didn't know how to say the things that I say now. So I was literally like, you want to help, you want to grow. Like that was like my main thing. I was like, oh, you want to grow a bigger audience? Like I got you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just had all these one-on-ones, and then I realized I was kind of walking them through this framework and it was working. I was having one-on-one clients have incredible results. And that was, at the end of the day, all I really cared about. I was willing to put my blood, sweat, and tears into a client because I wanted them to have the results. I wanted them to have the income, the conversion, and the following.
Yeah.
And I was getting that. I realized it was kind of through this framework. So then February the following year, so about 7-8 months into the business, did my first group program. And that was Viral Creator. We got like 26 people in there. And I kind of separated what I was doing into creative foundations, personal branding, and then TikTok. Like that was kind of the areas I was focusing on. Started group programs in those 3 things within the next 6 months. So had 26, 36, 46 people in those. And then that just kind of kept snowballing and then turned into the Creator Academy, which is like my main place that I kind of funnel creators in now who are brand founders, business owners, content creators who are serious about creating impact with whatever they're doing, their business ventures, even if they're in ideation phase or execution or refinement, whatever it is, they know what's required. They know that they need to double down and they're looking for that thought partner. They're looking for that community aspect. That became my main focus, and that was like a much more scalable model. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like we're about to turn 2. I just shared that we just passed our $1 million milestone, which is insane.
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
is insane.
Such a big number and milestone for the everyday person.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, even in people in business, but for me, like never coming from money, never seeing a lot of money around me, never having access to successful business owners for conversations, that number I just pedestaled like $1 million, And for growth, to give you an idea of growth, it was like, we've been trading 2 years.
Yeah.
The first year we made 180.
Yeah, right.
And
So the second year is 4 times, or 5 times, 6 times.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's been the kind of trajectory once I just kept doubling down on what was working.
What I love about it, because I feel like, in the coaching industry, being someone who has been mentored or coached, and then also someone who has done it myself, what I have found is that it's really hard to make a long-term impact on someone or have a long-term impact on yourself when it's like a one-on-one, let's chat every 2 weeks for an hour kind of vibe. So what I love about what you've done is like, it's the touch points. There's so many more touch points, and it feels like the value of the community, and then as well as like obviously the value you put in. And even though it's not one-on-one time with you, I feel like there is so much one-on-one feedback and advice that you give that I feel like it's almost more, and it's absolutely more valuable than having you as a one-on-one mentor.
I love this point, and this speaks so much to something that honestly pisses me off, that so many business owners think they need a one-on-one mentor, and they think they're above group programs, and they think they're above group communities, but you've just not been in a good one, or you've not applied yourself previously to a good one, and you're resenting the coach or the program as a result. People come into my world and they say, oh, can I just get a one-on-one call with you? And I'm like, no, that's just going to tickle your ego. It's not going to do anything for you long-term, your results. So I love that you pointed that out, because the way I've worked with very, very big influencers. I've worked with millionaires, multimillionaires, people with millions of followers, with no money, like all of the different outcomes. And what I was finding myself, even with my highest level one-on-ones, they would ask me questions and I'd say, go watch Elite Creator, go watch Personally Branded, and then come back to me. And they would go and they'd come back to me and they'd go, holy shit, like that answered all of my questions. This is where I'm at now. What do you think on this? And I'm like, this is where the strategy comes in now, because you've done the heavy lifting, you've done the work. And I didn't create these programs out of my ass for a quick cash splash. Like I created them because everyone was asking me the same 30, 40 questions. So I put them into a framework that you can actually go and do.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought that in, because like, I think it's such a skewed opinion that like the amount of entitled creators that rock into my DMs, they're like, I love your vibe, I want to work with you, but I'm just like not really into the group program thing. Like, can you just give me a one-on-one? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, get into the group, get in, like, you might not even be a good fit for the academy. You might not even be ready for the academy. Like, why don't you apply and
Yeah.
we'll talk about it then?
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, like the amount of people I've said, go listen to Elite Creator or Personally Branded and come back to me.
Yeah. Or even just do one of your, because you can buy some of the programs separately when you do them live, which is how I first came in, and see if it's your vibe and if you're actually going to like commit to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just think it's like a great way to do things. And I think that I've spoken about this before on my podcast, but community is such a hype word. But when there's someone building like true community, like they're actually a community builder, that business is gonna thrive, in my opinion.
I agree. I think, and something I say to the guys in the academy all the time is like, where are we just constantly wanting more people, more buyers, more consumers, more visibility? But like, how are you actually nurturing your existing community? How if you've got 2,000 followers and you're having a boohoo moment because you want to have 10,000 followers, what are you doing for that 2,000 people right now? Because I guarantee you, if you spent a week, you doubled down, you went into your follow account, you actually looked at who these people are, you studied them, you messaged them, you engaged with them. That is the quickest way to make 10, 15, 20 sales than hoping to go viral and reach 10,000, 20,000 more people. Nurturing your community is the best way to grow your business and make sales.
Yeah, totally. And I think that this is like a thing that people don't think of is they're trying to like, and I've even caught myself doing it. It's like you're trying to like chase this like this reel that goes viral, right? That doesn't convert to sales. Like, and you've spoken about this before. It's like someone comes onto, say for me, for my Move Pilates Academy account, we did some reels that went a little bit viral and that was really cool. But now we're just really focusing on like reels that have the engagement of like the saves and the likes, because then because we want to be we want to be educating people. It's like, yeah, cool, we want to make people laugh like sometimes, but we mostly just want to be like educating people because that's what that business is about. And it's so much more potent. And I find that even though the views are not in the hundreds of thousands, we're getting sales from that.
Yeah, you don't need a massive audience to, like, even my Instagram now, I think we're at 12,000 followers on Socially Sans, and we've just hit $1 million. Like,
Amazing.
It's like, let that sink in. Like, stop trying to focus on it. I think at the end of the day, in terms of content strategy, the conversation is about where is your goalpost. You can have a goalpost over here to get viral. That could be your goalpost. You're like, I'm just not changing my vision until we go viral because I want to go viral and I want to get data from that. Cool. Yeah. That's the goalpost. That's a different goalpost to over here. I want to 10x our sales. I want to 10x our conversions. I want to increase our client retention or our return customer. You know, it's like, figure out where your goalposts are. So many people in business are flying blind. They have no idea what their goals are. They don't actually know. And they're going, oh, it's because I'm not going viral and we're not making sales and this and that. I'm like, they're all different conversations. So I think virality is not bad. I think going viral it's a strategy. Like, if you want to be going viral, you want to increase your visibility. We had a call today for the Elite Creator crew. We do Q&A calls quarterly. And one of the things I said to them is, if you want to convert a viral video, it's about what you've done in the 90 days leading up to that viral video. So if you want to go viral, let's just say you set a goal, 90 days, I'm going to go viral, I'm going to have a high conversion. It starts with the content you're posting today for the next 90 days. That's your viral strategy. Not right now today, let's make this piece of content go viral and let's see the conversion, because you haven't been intentional about what you've been doing leading up to that. So it's so many cool ways you can kind of manipulate it.
Yeah, and I feel like let's talk about that, because I feel like just before when you were talking, you were saying you started as this kind of program with a limited language is how you said it. And then you said, but then I realized that, you know, it's about like how people think, their psyche, like all these kinds of things. And let's talk about people thinking that they can go viral today just by creating one piece of content. And I think that this is like a little bit of a thing in our society of just this like instant gratification and this like, I want it now, like, you know, like that Willy Wonka, like, give it to me now, you know?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I think my take is varied. I think people like Instagram and social media and content, the growth of it has also made us think that we can literally just show up and share our favorite drink and our favorite morning routine, and that's going to blow our business up or blow our personal brand up, and brands are going to throw money at you. And it's not the case. I think I'm going to contradict myself because like it's not the case. However, the work that is required to have results in content versus going and getting a degree or going and working full time for someone else, like for me personally, it's a no-brainer. And something I always say in originally Viral Creator, which is now Elite Creator, there's a huge portion of that where I say to people, your desire to do this has to be bigger than your desire to stay the same. Your desire to change has to be bigger than your desire to stay the same. And it takes that grit. It takes like you bearing down and doing the thing, virality, and none of it comes to you. Again, it's such a nuanced conversation because I'm going to contradict myself and say sometimes I do say like it's simple. It might not be easy, but it is simple. So I think you could make a piece of content today that would go viral. It would have to be pretty controversial or like gen pop, like people would have to be able to identify something in it. You'd have to provide something, you know, like I could sit here and strategize a viral piece of content with you. However, we know now that the content game is majority consistency. It's not
that's
just.
what I was going to ask. Like, what's the one thing? Consistency.
Yeah, like for long-term results, consistency, obviously, like yes. It's funny because I had this Elite Creator call today and I was saying to those guys, like, I remember before I had my kids, I would wake up and be like when I was in my early 20s and just be like, are you fucking serious that I have to feed myself 3 times a day? Like, is this just life? I remember someone literally telling me about like that drink that just like sorts all your calories out and you just don't have to cook food forever. This was like so long ago. It never took off. I remember just being like, are you serious? This is just adulthood. Like I just have to cook for myself 3 times a day. It's so funny looking at how much I've taken on in my life since that point. And like now I have 2 kids that I also have to feed and a husband and a business and a company and all the things. And now to me, content is just one of those things. It's like I have to feed myself. I have to get outside. I have to stay regulated. I have to post my content. It's just it is a complete non-negotiable, not a cute Instagram non-negotiable. Like my non-negotiables are 10K. No, it's an absolute no-brainer. I post my content to promote myself every single day.
Yeah.
So yes, consistency is a huge part of it, but it's so much more than consistency as a standalone thing. It's becoming the person who can be consistent in something that you say is important to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I just love the way that you explained that. It's like stretching. I have this saying, I've said it's the saying where it's like, you know, people say, oh, you need to take something off your plate. And I'm like, nah, just get me a bigger plate. You know, like I just want a bigger plate. Like that's, you know.
I love that.
And I think that that's kind of like what you're talking about. It's like that you have that plate and maybe you have your steak and your chips on there, and then you're like, actually no, we have veggies every day because we need that to live. And then, you know, okay, we're going to add, I don't know, whatever, chia seeds or, you know, and it's like you're kind of like adding these things onto your plate that become like a necessity for you to like just continue on.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Because what we're talking about here is capacity. So with that conversation, when you say just give me a bigger plate, what you're really saying is my capacity has expanded.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how do we expand our capacity? We create habits and behavioral changes slowly, incrementally, so that we can expand and stretch without breaking, without burning out.
Yeah.
And that's all I've done since Hannah, who, you know, 10 years ago was like, are you fucking serious? I have to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner? What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah.
To now running $1 million business in postpartum with my second baby, supporting my husband, having multiple projects on the go, you know, things happening in my personal life, working on my marriage, working on other dynamics in my life, is that I've slowly and steadily increased my capacity to hold more without letting someone else's projection or idea of what my plate should look like stretch me too quickly, and then I've burnt out.
Yeah.
And since day one of starting this business, so we're about to turn 2, I started in postpartum with my first baby. I'm now in postpartum with my second baby. day one I said burnout is not an option. That was my mantra.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it well, and burnout is not an option. And I can proudly say I have not burnt out.
Yeah, I love that. So that was really intentional right from the start. What made that intentional? Like, had you seen people burn out? Like, what was your mindset around that?
I think my internal compass of I'm a mother now. My son I was, a few months postpartum. He breastfed exclusively as my daughter does now. And it was just, I know, I have the knowledge that I can't be there for my son if I'm burnt out. I have the knowledge that he's my priority physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. Like he and my family and my relationship with my husband. If people followed me for a while, like what I pour into my husband is equal to what I pour into my kids. Like I'm focusing so heavily on that aspect because I can feel intuitively from a deep place that the weight of my relationship like spills into everything. Like when we're thriving, the unit's thriving. So it's a really big focus for me. And I think that I just knew intuitively, like I can't pour into all areas here if I burn out. It's just not an option. And I didn't want to be the narrative of, I tried to start this thing in motherhood and it just didn't work because everything's too hard. And so I had to let it go. And I think that's a reality for a lot of people. And I didn't want to create more evidence for that narrative. I wanted to create evidence that we can do things that stretch us and we can do things that feel hard at times, and we can create data that we can do those things in motherhood.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so good and so powerful, and it's coming from a place not that's like we're trying to be like the man or whatever. It's coming from a place that's like, if I want to, I can.
And in that, I've had to do a lot of refinement on when I'm in my masculine and when I'm in my feminine. And so allowing Paulo, my husband, to step up in his masculine in ways that he can support me in my business and support me as this fierce mama doing all the things so that I can lean into him and be soft and feminine and have that duality. And that is some of the biggest work.
Yes,
as,
absolutely.
As mums and women in business know.
This podcast is brought to you by the AW Academy, a brand built for ambition. Designed for dreamers who seek success and strength in every endeavour. Check out the link in the show notes for aligned products, courses, and free materials.
This is just a personal thing for me. So I felt like I've gone through this journey where I naturally can step into that masculine very easily, and Jordan naturally is more gentle and sensitive. So it's such a little dance, isn't it? Especially when you've obviously picked each other for that kind of like, is it duality? Is that like the word? And you've picked each other because like you've both got what each other needs. But then sometimes when you're going into like that automatic mode, it can be quite tough when you start to step into I found it's been quite tough when I've stepped into my masculine too much and he's gone into that, his like kind of like more like feminine.
It is his feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a dance. That's exactly what it is. And I think that both men and women have masculine and feminine energy. So it's not to say if a man's in his feminine energy, they're weak or less than or anything like that. A man who's in tune with his feminine energy is powerful.
It's beautiful, yeah.
And I think that it doesn't matter. This could be a conversation about anything, too much of anything. You know, it's like, I step into my masculine very easily as well. And I always say it's when I'm trying to bulldoze Paulo. Like if I go in the house and I'm stressed in the studio and something's happening and I don't take a minute to regulate myself and I take that into the house, I'll just bulldoze him over. Like it's just my weak spot. It's like I'll walk in, I'll just be like, and this is a problem and this is and I'll just like start to manage everything. So that's actually my responsibility. I've learned to just be like, I actually go above and this is some of my biggest work is like trying to have that boundary with work, have that boundary with when I am in my masculine and I'm killing it and I love being in my masculine sometimes in business, but then going to the house and being like intentionally leaning into my feminine a little bit more so that he can step up and hold me and actually communicating that really obviously. Like, can you please do this? Because when you do this, it makes me feel like this.
Yeah. Love it.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah. So do you feel, you've said that this is part of your biggest work. You feel like that's kind of like, I guess, been a challenge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm hyper independent and have been hyper independent for a long time. In saying that, it's a tricky one. I know to be my best self in business and in motherhood, I need to feel loved and I need to feel supported. And within my marriage, it's something, since having young kids, I can just so easily see how it can become the last priority.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel it. It's natural. Like, I can feel that it's like, I need to look after the kids. I need to look after myself. And then I've got this business that's like supporting us financially. It would be so easy for me to just put Paulo down the ranks and go, you should be supporting me. And I've got all of this on my plate. But what I've realized is I can shift that and just ask for what I want from him and just literally say, I've got all of this on my plate and that can be true. And I would love if you would treat me like this, this, and this. And just communicating that to him often, rather than sitting in the corner and acting a certain way and wanting him to come to me because him coming to me is going to prove his love to me.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in my experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And it's not a healthy, in my experience and in our relationship, it's not a healthy conflict strategy. Something that we've been in couples therapy, and like our therapist has been so amazing in really validating that we actually are really healthy in conflict and we're not conflict avoidant. We're okay to go into the conflict. It's about how we moving through it. And I think that it's just so easy as a business owner in business to just scapegoat everything through your business and go, I can't talk to you. I need to work. I need to go in the studio. I'm on my phone. I'm working.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You have to have the self-responsibility to go, I'm lying. I'm actually on Instagram. I'm not working. And like, what is my partner needing from me right now?
Oof, I just got a little kick in the butt myself then.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You're not going to tell me that, business owners, anyone who's listening to this, like, we're all guilty of it. And it's like, where am I disrespecting my partner in that moment, but then complaining internally that he's not showing up for me?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, oh, can you do it? Can you do that thing? Because I just got to work for a quick second. It's like, no, Hannah, like, you said you were going to stop at 4 o'clock today. It's 5 o'clock. Like, get up off your ass. And yeah, you're tired from working, but he's tired from being with the baby all day. So, and it's like, if the role was reversed, it'd be so easy for me to say, he's always on his phone. He's always working. He doesn't support me. He doesn't take my role as a stay-at-home mum seriously. I've caught myself in so many moments of doing that with him.
Yeah.
So it's like radical self-responsibility always. Pouring into my relationship just makes everything flourish around me, in business, in life, in myself. It's like amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So good. I feel like we went on a bit of a tangent there, but I love it.
Yeah, of course.
So you've got some really exciting stuff coming up for in Socially Sans. What can you share? Okay, so one of the things is that you're touring, which is awesome. I'm so excited. I'm going to be there. I'm going to sort out my child drinking out of a bottle by then.
I support you in that.
Tell us a little bit about the tour.
So funny. Like, I had Rafi. I kind of built up my business to support me in postpartum. And then I was like, I had no idea what I was going to want to do in postpartum. I didn't know if I'd want to like check out or like where my, fire would be. And after I had her, it was like 6 weeks later, I kept getting this idea of like doing an in-person thing. I honestly don't know how it went from doing an in-person event to maybe like 10 people to being a 4-city East Coast tour with a baby and a toddler. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. And the idea just kind of flowed on. So in August, we are doing the Socially Sans tour. We're doing Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Sydney and Melbourne. The idea is it's a double-day full immersion retreat. We're calling it a development day retreat. So each day we're developing 2 areas. The first day is self and brand. Day 2 is content and business. So it's kind of like the inward work and then the outward work. The processes that we're going to have, they're insane. I've been working on them so often. It's such a bigger scale of what I do inside the Creator Academy, which people in there and people I've worked with like know that this work, when we sit down and we intentionally just strategize our business and our brand from such a different way than maybe has been traditionally done, the reflections and the revelations and the ideas that come from that, that's what's going to put you on your own crazy trajectory. Like it's actually having that intentional time. So that mixed with the community aspect, so many business owners feel isolated. So many business owners think they're the only one going through it when everyone's doing the same shit. Everyone's going through the same things. Mothers in business feel like they're a rarity. Like being in a room with other mums, there's going to be multiple mums in multiple cities who are like ducking out to breastfeed. People have already messaged me about that. And also this narrative of like, I don't know, I still feel like there's this narrative of like that mums in businesses don't do that well. And I'm kind of over it. Like, I'm just like, I know so many mums in business killing it. And I want to be around more people in the room to create more evidence of that. We're going to have surprise guest speakers in each city, which is going to be epic. We've locked in those. And it's just going to be 2 days of like complete transformation.
I love it. I feel like it's, sometimes I go to these like kind of like networking events and stuff, and like some are amazing, but some of them you sort of like, someone sits on a panel. I've even been on the panel sometimes, and you walk away and you feel like, oh, we just skimmed the surface.
Yeah.
Like we got like 3 questions out of them, you know? So I feel like this is going to be like next level.
It's going to be like the opposite of that. Yeah. It's going to be so not surface level. And it started off, maybe we were like, maybe we do one day that's networking and maybe we do one day that's like the real intensive. And we did this waitlist form and 100% of people said, I want to come to both days. So we said, all right, fuck that off. We'll just do a double day. Like this is going to be intense as.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guarantee most people will be crying within the first 2 hours of this. Like I don't want to give anything away because the processes are going to be epic. Like from the moment you enter on day one, there will be something unexpected. Like it is designed to shake you up and strip you back and get that mask off real quick, totally disarm you within the first 2 hours and be a group of real fucking women, people, creators, business owners, visionaries, people on this journey of business discovery, wealth, you know, content creation, visibility, being seen, impact, all of it within, you know, that first little short period in the beginning. So it's designed to make people uncomfortable, but make them feel so safe and held. So then the big transformations can come.
And I feel like it sounds like it's going to be like a personal development day, like retreat mixed with like, but we're going to just like fucking go to town with your business. And I think that, you know, when you're talking about your relationship, I also feel like this is the case with like just in terms of like our personal development and how we feel about ourselves, like the stories that we tell, the traumas that we hold, they also impact the way that we show up in our business and in our lives and all of the rest of it. And I feel like that's what it seems like you're really tapping into is actually like, okay, well, like if we fix this shit over here, then this is just going to happen. And it seems like that's what's happening in your life as well, what's happened over time.
Yeah, you just said that so well. I think that it's we actually just sent out a really funny email yesterday, and Em and I were laughing, my ops manager, because she was referring to me as a plumber, just like coming to plug your leaks. Like it's just like it is. It's like, where are you leaky? Could be in your relationship, could be in your motherhood journey, could be in your health and wellness, your nutrition, your habits, could be in your business. How are you treating your staff? How are you treating the person at the cafe that serves you your breakfast? How are you treating the checkout chick at Woolies? Is that your leak? You know, are you being nice in your content and a real not nice person elsewhere? So it's like there's leaks. Let's find the leaks and plug them because you will feel the end. It is imagine water in a pipe and there's 10 leaks in the bottom. You plug one, more water's coming out of the 9. You plug 5, more water's coming out of the other 5. You plug 9 of them, that one leak is going hard. Like that's how it flows in business, in life, in content, in community building. You have to be who you say you're going to be. And yeah, it is going to be, again, if you're in my world, you know that personal development and business development and brand and wealth and money stories and content, it's all a part of the same conversation. So it's 2 days of that. And it's for people who, whether you're an established business owner and you've done the rounds in business, or you've never done business, but you're like me 10 years ago, starting the fucking pods idea from China. Like you got ideas, but no execution, or you've got all execution and no fresh ideas, or you want to be a content creator, you want to be an influencer, you want to be a brand founder, you want to be a public figure. a public speaker, or you want to be a really high performing person in someone else's team, it's going to be great for anyone in those areas.
Yeah. So just like anyone.
Literally anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm just going to say this like to the camera because I know from experience, like nothing Hannah has ever done has been half. It's like all
That's
like,
true.
it's never disappoints. Never disappoints.
Yeah, I'm not in the business of half cooking ideas. And if I have had half cooked ideas in the business and we've pulled the plug. I've been like, nah, that's not it.
Yeah.
It's got to be great. And that's so funny you say that because it was like this idea started so low risk, like so low key. And then it was like, actually, let's do 4 cities. And actually, let's bring my team and the babies and the dads. And actually, let's find the sickest locations with the best food. That was a big part of my thing, you know, like let's find the coolest energy in the room and where is it in relation in its city, like is it close to the beach, is it close, you know, there's so many things that gone into it. So now I'm like I can show up and I can sell it with my chest, and I'm so proud of how we've launched it. My team is so excited, Paulo is so excited, like it's going to be incredible. I wish I could clone myself and come to something like this, and I wish, and it's really opened me up to see what I want this business to be long term. I want more of these in-person events available. Because right now, if I wanted to look up something to do this weekend that wasn't just for my kids, there's nothing I'm going to find that's going to interest me, to be honest.
Yeah, there's not enough. Yeah.
No.
Sure.
For someone who, I'm on a fast track. Like right now, I don't have time, and no disrespect for people who entertain other activities, but like I'm not going drinking with my friends. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not like, there's just not many things right now. And it's not to say I don't know how to relax. I know how to fucking relax. I know how to have fun with my family. But if I wanted to go to an event and pay a fee or a high ticket for a ticket, like what am I going to go to? There might be something good around here, like every quarter, if that.
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
So I want to contribute more to closing that gap.
Yeah. And I think even just like even some networking things and stuff I go to, like I find like I'm the kind of person, and just like you say, like I know how to relax, I know how to have fun. I don't drink either, but I feel like my brain wants to be stimulated. Otherwise, I just feel bored. And actually, to be honest, that is probably one of the things that's driven me to drink in the past, which is why I don't drink, because I don't think that using drinking so that I can pass the time faster because I'm fucking bored is really a great use of my life. It's like, you know, I want to have these interesting conversations. That's why I love doing the podcast, because it's like you get to have these interesting conversations. You get to chat to people who have something interesting to say. And I think that it's awesome that you're going to bring that, especially to the sunny coast, because often they're in Brizzy.
Yeah, it gets
if
missed.
anything.
We were going to do Brizzy, and then I was like, you know what? We've got such a big crew on the Gold Coast, and we've got a crew here. So I was like, let's just do Sunny Coast, Gold Coast. People in Brisbane can come and stay at either. There's great hotels. The locations are all hotels with accommodation. They're all 5-star. They've all given us discount codes for our guests if they do want to do a night away. Some mums are going to be coming first night away from their babies, from interstate and things like that. And yeah, I agree. I want to do something that's like, me and Paulo even, like, we're really into like games and like, you know, just like if we want to go do something, we want to do something fun. We want to play a sport. We want to play a game. We want to do something interactive. And I just think now that I think honestly, I'd never realized how many people, it's so funny. This is such a different direction to take this, but like, I honestly think before I started Socially Sand, I didn't realize how many people moved through life similarly to me, felt the same as me, thought similar thoughts to me. And now that I've cracked this community of like brand founders, business owners, creators, oh man, everyone's just so on the same page. Everyone wants the same stuff. Everyone wants to be plugged into the same conversations. Like when I went sober 5 years ago, I felt so alienated. I felt like no one in my community was sober. I didn't know people who were in their 20s who were sober. Like, and now it's like majority of people in my community are sober and they don't have time to do shit like that. They just rather be plugged into things that are moving them in the direction that they want to be going in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's true. I feel like, well, it's just who you surround yourself by, but also not seeing that those people are there just because, I don't know where I'm going with that actually.
Yeah, you're distracted.
Yeah, you're distracted by being distracted by things that aren't really important. because they're easier or they're giving the instant gratification.
See, I was going to say, because they're easier. Like, it's easier to lean into the old habits. I've been talking a lot about confirmation bias lately. A lot of people constantly look for evidence that just confirms a belief system that you have about yourself. So if you say to yourself, all my friends are drinkers, I'm a drinker, the only way to have fun is drinking, and you believe that because maybe you grew up in a family that also reinstated that idea and belief that we drink when we're happy, we drink when we're social, you'll consistently look for evidence that that's true. So if you try to go out sober and you have no fun, see, I knew it. You have to have fun. You have to drink to have fun.
Yeah.
If you try to have a conversation with a friend about going sober and it turns into a conflict or it's just not received well, see, I knew it.
Yeah.
Not going sober is going to cause problems with my friendships. But we look for things that are easy, that are familiar. So, yeah.
It's actually also our ego that comes into this, right? Because like even going in deeper, say like relationship, choosing the same person over again, who's maybe abusive or whatever. It's like our ego, our subconscious ego is telling you that story. So you only deserve X, Y, and Z. And then you subconsciously choose the person that is only going to give you X, Y, and Z. And it's actually all down to your ego, because your ego is like, see, you were right. And so it's like, how can you challenge your ego and also be okay with not being right?
Yeah.
With being, proved wrong essentially by yourself.
And that's exactly it. And that's the same as confirmation bias. Like, our belief systems can change, but it's through that incremental stretch, right? Same as the capacity thing. So it's okay. It's being okay with being wrong with that belief system, but ultimately you want to be wrong because that's going to lead you into a new direction.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same with content. It's exactly the same with business and content. People do the same thing. Like, I'm not pretty enough to be a content creator. I'm not pretty enough to be a content creator. Like, people believe that. And then you create a video talking to camera and it flops, it gets no views. See? This is why I shouldn't make content.
Yeah.
It's such a roundabout.
And ultimately, probably when they were creating that video, their whole energy was giving off, I'm not good enough or pretty enough, whatever, to be a creator. And so that's probably part of the reason why it flopped.
Yeah, and they're just uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable filming the content in the first place. So
Yeah. Interesting. What would you say are your values?
Oh.
I believe that business values are the same as personal values, essentially. But I don't know, you might not believe that. But what do you reckon your values are?
In business and in life? I think my values are growth. I definitely value growth. I definitely value authenticity. I think that's a very, very leading value of mine. Authentic connection, like to be more specific, like just being able to feel when I'm connecting with a person or people that I am portraying myself authentically in line with my values, in line with who I am, in line with how I feel. And that's so important to me, regardless of how I'm being received. Not molding my energy, appearance, how I'm coming across, what I'm saying based on how I'm being received, but just showing up authentically.
Yep. Love that.
Growth.
I feel like just on that authenticity, even like in your personal life, like obviously before when I walked into your house and I was like, I just love that you have like color and you so clearly have like your own personal style. Like it's not like a cardboard cutout. It's just like what you like. You just like what you like. And I really admire that.
That's a really cool reflection. I think that does tie with my values, like creativity. Allowing myself to be creative in my relationships, in my life, in my speech, in my outward world. I think this like idea that's always stuck with me is like create your space. Like obviously sitting in my studio right now, like create a space in your outer world that feels like your inner world. And I've always loved that idea. Or any bedroom I've ever had, even if it's in a share house or whatever, it's like life's short. Like create a space in your outer world that reflects your inner world. You have control. So yeah, creativity, definitely a big creative expression.
Yeah.
A big value of mine.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's like, it's just cool to not be afraid to be different.
Agreed.
Yeah,
it's a tricky one. I feel like, values have always been a tricky pinpoint for me. I think I never really heard them spoken about as a kid. And so I've kind of been on this journey of the last 2 to 4 years of like finding my values and creating value systems within myself and for my family, for my kids now.
I had a really cool way that values were explained to me a few years, maybe 6 years ago. I had this business coach. She's amazing. Love her. And one of her things she does right at the start is she helps you figure out what your values are. And the way she explained it to me was really cool. It was like, sometimes we think, okay, yep, I love my family so much, like that's my value. But what actually defines a value, or what she said defined a value, or like how you could figure out your value, was like actually thinking about things out of this list. There's like a big list. I can send it to you if you want. And you look at the list and you kind of like circle all the things that you feel like connected with. And then what you would find is like within those things that you feel connected with, you might like group, like there might be like integrity, honesty, authenticity. They might all group together into one. And then one of those words might feel like the most like powerful to you. But when you're actually thinking about like these values, it's like, what is the opposite of that value? And how do you feel about that thing? So for me, like one of my most top values is integrity. And like anything that is the opposite of integrity, it literally like I cannot cope. Like someone lying, someone like, just being dishonest, not speaking the truth, being like saying one thing like online or whatever and then being different, like, you know,
Just
that
being
sort of
shady, being out of alignment.
Yeah, for me, that's just like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. That's not, like, I just can't. And I move through my business like that as well. Like I, you know, when I was looking at the sale of these businesses and stuff, it's like, yeah, cool, you could like do it this way and be like, go get like all this money for it. Or you could do it this way, which feels like way more in integrity, and you're just going to sleep better at night.
I love that. Yeah, and I love that. I think that there's so many cool processes like that because, what I was about to say is like family has been such an interesting journey, obviously from how much I've spoken about my husband, and like obviously that's such a value of mine, but it's come from growing up in a circumstance that wasn't family centered and figuring out that I didn't like that and I don't align with that. So I'm moving towards, I don't say chasing, I'm not chasing, but I'm moving towards and I'm flowing towards what feels good constantly to mold this value system within myself, because maybe I didn't have the strongest value systems mirrored to me when I was younger. So family now, I'm seeing like my soul needs to be creative, but it also needs to be a nurturer. I'm such a mum. I've always been a mum before I had kids, you know, I knew that was a purpose. And I feel like I was always looking for that person who was going to make me a mum and be my partner. And finding Paulo, like it's all just clicked in and it's just been this beautiful thing. But since day one with him, I've always had this very clear thing of, you better fucking look after this. That's why my drive is there. I don't know why. It's always been a thing. This is what's going to give you that family that you've always craved. So take care of it. So I don't know what that is, but it's a value.
Yeah.
And the last one I was going to say, love what you said about like find what you don't align with and go, because like something I want to say there is, since I've been young, something that I just can't fuck with is when someone is being one way and clearly wants to say something. So they're holding back. And I can't articulate it in the right words right now, but since I've been young, like if I was around adults or if I was around another kid and I felt like I want to say something, I've been like that person. It's like, are you okay? Like, what do you want to say? Because I can, you know, when you're with someone, you're like, what is it that you're saying these things? But what is it you actually want to say?
Yes.
And that's always gotten me in trouble. Teachers, friends, relationships. I've always been like this whistleblower of just like, what are we doing? Like, why are you being weird? And it's in even my family dynamics. Like, so I don't know what that is. And I think it's that maybe it's like that I value bravery. I value guts. I value saying something even though there might be a consequence. you know, if that's your story and you have to say your piece and I have to say my piece, everyone should be saying their piece. I don't want to be the only person at this big table saying my piece and then I look a certain way because everyone else has just got the you know, the padlock on their mouth.
It's almost like a people-pleasing energy.
I don't think I didn't have the people-pleasing gene ever. So I've just been like, why are you guys being so weird? Like I've been in staff meetings like first week of a new job and everyone's being so awkward and weird. I'm like, do you guys like each other? Why are you being so weird? Like, is there something, am I like, what's he doing? Like, and everyone's like, no, you can't say that. And I'm like, this is so uncomfortable. Isn't everyone so uncomfortable?
Yeah. I can resonate with that. Like one thing that I really don't like is I hate it when people have an issue and instead of telling you and dealing with it, they fucking ghost you.
Yeah, that's funny. I was gonna say, you're kind of leaning towards passive aggression, but that's more like
I
that's
hate
just
passive
like
aggression.
avoidance,
Or
that's
even
really
just being passive.
Yeah,
but like
that's
it's
good.
like I can feel in your energy that there's an issue, but like you won't just say it and we can just like talk it out and figure it out.
Yeah,
I cannot with that.
So that's interesting. That's good for me because I'm like, cool. Yeah, I dislike all those things. So what does that mean about my value system? But yeah, I love that. It's such a fun conversation.
There you go. Okay. What's next for Socially Sans that you can share?
Tour, definitely. Tour. So tour is in August. First month, the first weekend of August, I think it's the second and third, we're on the Sunshine Coast. Then we go Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast. So obviously August is going to be a massive month. Then actually something before that, which has kind of just happened in the last 2 days, and I realized I need to restructure my entire business. And I took it to Emily, my ops manager, yesterday. I was like, and I'd really like to do this before the 1st of July. So I also turned 2 on the 1st of July, so there's going to be some like front-facing announcements there with some new launches and things happening, which is really exciting. I basically realized that every single content creator, brand founder, and business owner fall into one of 3 categories. I'm just changing my entire business to cater to those 3 categories, which feels very exciting.
I'm excited to find out about this in the next week.
Yeah. So that's really big. Then tour, my husband's mum, we are flying her over from Brazil on the 20th of August. And this is as well, like such a huge conversation. And part of my story is like, you know, I never really came from money. I never had a security blanket or someone who I could lean on if shit went belly up, and it did many times. And this business and this, like, people, I speak about my numbers transparently. I share my milestones. I share cash milestones. I don't give a fuck. I'm so happy to talk about that stuff because I'm a big believer in if I can talk about that stuff and some mum is watching this content at the beginning of her business journey, I'm giving her evidence that she can do it.
Yeah.
And so I like sharing, but like such a big part of the finances and the wealth and the growth in the business that it has allowed me to do is creating this insane life for my family. We never, ever imagined being able to fly Paulo's mum over here from Brazil. Last time we went to Brazil when my son was almost 1, we had to get a dodgy fucking online credit card just to pay for our flights. We could not afford it, and we paid off that credit card for like a year.
Yeah.
Like to be able to just be like, no, we're going to fly her here. She's going to spend 3 months here. So that's in August. And then we're actually going back to Brazil with her on the 20th of November, and we're going to live in Brazil for 3 months.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
So I'll be running business as usual from Brazil, which is pretty crazy. Between that, we're kind of looking at some commercial warehouses right now because the business is growing and expanding, and with that, ideas have come in about how I can best service my audience and community and what people in content and business are really needing right now. So again, this conversation about the in-person stuff, like that's also a way to facilitate more of that more frequently. So potentially a commercial property on the cards. And
along with everything else you're doing, I feel like that's enough.
Yeah, it's a fair bit going on.
Yeah.
There's a few other things. There's another kind of side business in the works, which is really exciting. But that's pretty much all the things that are happening right now that I can say.
I love it. I love it. So exciting. Okay, so for anyone who falls into these 3 categories, what's your top, I don't know, 3 tips? Okay, what's your top 3 content creator tips?
Oh, top 3 content creation tips.
It can be more than 3, but.
Okay. So just anyone?
Okay, so I'm just like, I'm me. Let's use me. I'm me. I want to build my personal brand.
I love this. Let's talk about the archetypes. I'll talk about the 3 archetypes. So we've got Abs. You are experienced in business. You've done business. You're a true entrepreneur. You know how to pull an idea out of your ass, execute it, turn it into something amazing. In terms of content, what you should be focusing on is spending intentional time extracting all the shit that goes on in your brain and that has gone in your brain historically since your first success, extracting that and putting it into content, both value-based content, but also founder-led, story-driven, personal branding content. You're a mum of 2, you've just gone through pregnancy, postpartum, birth as in business. You had your first daughter within business, your relationship within business. You know, go back to your journey when it started. Like I say to people, you know how there's a saying about investing, like the best time to invest was yesterday and the second best time to invest is right now. It's the same with like content creation, especially with founder-led content. The best time to start telling your story was yesterday and the second best time is right now. And actually the best time to start telling your story was when it started. And if you've missed that, today is the best time. So you need to go back into the archives and spending this intentional time either alone or with a mentor or within a container with someone that's giving you those frameworks, because the extraction is such a big part of it. So that is like the person who's experienced in business but is now having a second wind, or they've realized that they could be having so much more impact with a bigger audience and they want to be creating content. That should be your main focus. That and output. Doing the fucking thing is one step. I don't care if you have 50 spreadsheets of incredible ideas. If you're not creating the content, what are we talking about? Yeah. So the extraction and the content output. Let's say you are the opposite of the cycle. You're at the beginning. You've never created content. You've never created a business. You've never had a brand, but you know that you're meant for something. You have ideas. You have thoughts. You want to get them out. You want to be seen. You want to be a public figure. What this person should be focusing on is messy action. You don't need to have it figured out because you have nothing to figure out. You should just be creating content. And this person needs so many pep talks, but one is often about perfectionism. As you said on instant gratification before, you're seeing this finished content all the time on your feed. It's promoting this idea for you that your content's going to look like that. It's not. Your content is going to be awkward. It's going to be shit. It's going to be bad quality for a bit. Like, you've just got to put it out anyway. That leads to the next phase. You can't skip the phase. You can't skip the being a beginner phase. Anyone. I've worked with multimillionaires. I've worked with incredible influencers. I've worked with people. You cannot skip the awkward, shitty phase. It's like puberty. You can't skip it. Yeah. I think like those are 2 end sides of the spectrum. For the middle person who's maybe you're like an Insta, you know, you're familiar with Instagram, you're familiar with TikTok, you've been posting a little bit here and there, but not really being intentional. But you've worked up the muscle of like, I know kind of what I want to do. I've got this great business idea, or I've got an existing business. Mate, you could be in the service industry, you could have a product, whatever it is. You're pretty comfortable with creating content. It's not new to you. You know how things work. What you should be focusing on is refining your idea whilst growing your community through intentionally engaging with that community. I think a lot of people in this middle phase, they sometimes fall into this habit of just creating really selfish content and just being like, I'm just going to share about my day and I'm just going to do this and that and it's going to go really well. But it's like the pop off, you might not really need the growth. They make the shittest content. I love working with the beginners. Yeah. And I love working with the high level people. The middle people, honestly, it's the hardest because you've been forming habits at this really average level of creating content. And you're like, oh, why aren't I growing? And it's like, oh, what is this entitlement? I show up, I post content every day. It's like, yeah, but that's
I feel like I fall into the middle level to an extent. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
If you identify with that, then yeah. I think it's like, you know, that I serve up tough love. That's just what I do. And it's like, I think that middle creator, they need the biggest kick in the ass and they need, honestly, some urgency. Yeah. Because fuck me, they just have no urgency. And I can guarantee you what has gotten me where I am is pressure. Yeah. Like, pressure is what has gotten me to where I am.
I remember actually when I went to go work on the super yachts, and we were talking, a friend of mine who worked on the yachts as well, and we were just talking about that, and I always remember my mum said, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to, you know, be able to get back up again.
Often.
Yeah,
I always say that, like, people, like, say to me, how do you keep going? How do you do the thing? And I'm like, well, how could I not? I have I'm literally paying the bills. Like I'm literally, it's all on me, babe. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that I've had that mentality since day one. I've never wavered from that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make me feel overwhelmed and it doesn't make me feel stressed.
But you haven't had another option. Like you
No.
said, you didn't have someone when everything goes balls up to like.
Oh, I have had creators who have paid me $12,000 for a one-on-one client container
Yeah.
and they just haven't done anything because it's too comfortable.
Yeah.
The $12,000, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, but they're like, yeah, it's okay. And they do it. And I don't give them the ego tickle that they were looking for. And they just don't do anything.
Yeah.
And and
I've had
this
that
middle
too,
creator,
actually.
they stay in this cycle. They stay in this stuck cycle. They think they're ticking a box by creating content every day, but it's not. It's not ticking any box. You may as well not, you know? So I think, yeah, the middle creator, they need refinement, like active refinement and pressure, like a fire in their ass, and just some change, like move it in one direction, pivot, anything, do something,
Yeah.
you know? I think one overarching tip as well that I can give that I had in my call earlier today is just the reminder that stop trying to be so fucking palatable.
Yes. I think that the best or like the most, I don't know, the best, I don't know, people who are making an impact, people who have a lot of followers, people who are making the most sales are people who are, there's a word for it and I can't remember it. It's called something frosty.
Frosty.
Isolating? No. But they're people who are, they have, it's like the Abby Chatfields.
Yeah.
It's like
You've got something to say.
Yeah.
You have to stand for something. Mostly female creators I work with, everyone's trying so hard to be palatable. They're trying, it's the people pleasing thing.
And you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
No, and to be like forgettable, to leave people neutral to you is a worse result than leaving someone hating you. Like if you're just leaving everyone neutral to you, it's such a boring result. You're just going to spill in with everyone. It's not to say you need to come on and trigger the fuck out of people. I actively try to steer my clients to not say things that are ignorant online. There's a difference between being outspoken and being ignorant or naive. Like you don't need to say things that are hurtful. No. You'd never ever need to bring another brand down. I saw you did this about your Instagram yesterday. You will never ever catch me reference another brand, another marketing agency, another social media manager, anything like that, and go, well, that's fucking wrong. Here's how you should do it instead. Literally go through my content historically. I've never done that. Yeah. Because why? I'm in my own lane. I don't need to tell someone that they're not doing it right. I'm just going to do it how good I'm going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's the thing. It's like if you've got enough confidence in yourself and like if you're just running your own race, you don't need to do that. And it says more about you than it says about at the other brand that you're trying to put down.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's something I think an overarching theme right now is just say something. What do you want? Something I say to my clients all the time is, what are you not saying?
Yes.
Especially that middle creator. Yeah. Sometimes when they're like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm not growing. I haven't seen results. I've said everything that you've said to do. I'll look them dead in the eye and I'll say, cool, write down this question. What are you not saying? What are you not saying? What is happening for you right now that you are not sharing? And when we had that one-on-one ages ago, it was the business selling.
Yes.
So there's always something when you're feeling that gap and you're going, oh, it just doesn't feel good. I'm like, cool, what are you not saying?
Yeah,
let me in, fill me in. Doesn't mean we have to say it today. Yeah. But let me know, because there's obviously something that you're not saying. Yeah. Because it's really hard to show up in real time authentically when you're living a different reality behind the scenes.
And actually really interesting, just as you're saying that, it's like this value that we're talking about, right? What are you not saying? Like that's this thing that triggers you as like, you filter that into your business. And that's something I
always say. Yeah, always. Well, because I don't support people to promote a fake exterior online. That's not what I do. Yeah. I work with a lot of people. Like collectively, my clients, the impact that people who are actively working with me right now would be millions of followers. It's so cool to think about what I filter into my clients and my teachings and my courses and my potty, like that's impacting the choices that those creators are making, which is impacting millions of people. Yeah. And I'm not in the business of helping someone promote a fake exterior. Yeah. Or promote a lie or be dishonest or be out of integrity. I'm not in the business of doing that. Yeah. And that's why some people I rub the wrong way, because you come to work with me and I might give you a task that's really uncomfortable. I had a one-on-one client the other day who she's going through this weird identity crisis and she's really struggling to show up authentically. And I gave her a task to do and she did it and then she deleted it.
Mm-hmm.
And she came to me, she said, I want to tell you I deleted it and da-da-da. And I said, cool, take a breath. And she took a breath. I said, now you're going to repost it.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, please don't make me do that. And I said, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it. And I said, look, are you okay? Did you die?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no. I'm like, great. Like, moving on, next task.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why some people don't want the work mirrored to them that's important because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I love it. Okay. I feel like we should wrap this up.
Yeah, I
'cause
think
we've
I
just
can
been
hear my
chatting
baby
for
crying as
ages.
well.
Yeah, I can hear your baby crying. Anything that we haven't spoken about that we need to add?
Oh man, there's so much of my story I didn't really share, but I think just like if you follow me or if you do come to my page and have a look, like how I show up today is so in integrity and in alignment with how I show up, how I am now. But the last 2 years, like my life has drastically changed. I'm talking polar opposite existence. And one thing I wish that I could say to me 2-3 years ago is just like, Han, like things can change so quickly. And I know we hear this like do the work sentence often, but it's like you'll know what your work is and you need to double down and just stay in your lane and focus on what's required of you today, because what that can lead to tomorrow, then you blink and 2 years have passed, you can be in a completely different situation.
Yeah.
So like that is just something I would love to just leave it on that note.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Thanks so
Thank
much for your
you.
time, for helping me get all the tech set up.
You're welcome.
your
I love you. I'm so
space.
happy to be here. And thank
Yeah,
you for
so
listening,
good.
guys.
Yeah, and come on tour.
Yes,
Well,
come to tour. I
come on
actually
tour
have a
with us.
code for your listeners.
Perfect.
So if you guys want to book in Sunshine Coast to come to the tour, you'll get $100 off the ticket.
Awesome.
And that's going to be in the show notes. We'll give it to you.
Perfect. Yep. All in the show notes. Yeah.
Thanks, doll.
Cool. Thanks so much.